Okay guys, this is the day we take the XK A280 sub 250 gram brushless P-51D out. As long as I don't crash it and tear it up on the maiden flight, I always like to do a Maiden +1. So the only modification that I made to this plane was because almost all these microplanes, to me, have a twitchy elevator, too much movement in the elevator. I did remove the servo arm from the elevator servo and moved the linkage from the outer hole to the inner hole. And then when I connected it to the control horn, I connected it to the outermost hole on the control horn. So that should give me mechanically the least amount of movement on the elevator. Now, I looked at the movement of the elevator after I set the linkage up that way, and it certainly looked to me like it still had plenty of movement on the elevator. So that's the only thing I've done. I toned down the elevator. We'll see how that works out. I will see you out at the field, launching. Okay, so that's full left aileron. There is full right aileron. See if we can put in some rudder here. Let's see how sharp we can turn it. Pretty darn stable in 6G mode. Oh, I forgot to set my timer. Let me turn my timer on. I got my timer set for 4.5 minutes. That's pretty cool in 6G mode. Okay, let's gain a little altitude. Okay, put it into 3D mode. I think I should be in 3D mode. Yes, I am in 3D mode. Got a little bit of a loop out of it there. Well, I have to say, 3D mode on this, pretty lethargic roll there. 3D mode on this is not nearly as twitchy as some of the other models I've flown in 3D mode. Looks like I'm wanting to climb quite a bit. Put some down trim in it. I've got my battery pushed all the way forward on this. Looks like it could use a little more, it looks like I've got more rudder going to the left. Well, maybe not. Maybe I was just getting, maybe the ailerons were just a little lethargic. Ooh, she's a beauty. All right, let's get up here and try another roll.
Yeah, that's pretty lethargic on the rolls. Let me see if I put this into... Let me see if I've got it in high rates now. Keep it off the deck here. Certainly not a powerhouse. Oh, maybe I had it in high rate. Never mind. That was low rate there. It was not going to roll in in low rate, that's for sure. But high rates are not bad for 3D mode. It feels pretty smooth. I will probably keep it where it is with the stock transmitter, and then when I set it up for the TX16S, I will probably increase the aileron throws a bit. Let's watch out for the truck. All right, let's see here. Oh, that's a lethargic roll. Let's see if we can do it from this side. Not bad. Not bad. I'm probably halfway through my battery pack now. I tell you, I'm really surprised that handles pretty darn well in 3D mode, guys. I've really had a problem with 3D mode before, and it's been, there's my timer. It has been quite a while. Let me see, I should be back in stabilization mode. Doesn't act like it. Acts like I'm still in 3D mode. Going around. Oh, I guess I am in 6G mode. Alright, let's see if we can bring it in for a landing. Get it over the... going around again. I hope I don't run out of battery power. Alright, so in 6G mode, I'm having a hard time getting it over the lane here. Oh, there we go. It doesn't like the sand and the rocks. Definitely nosed over on landing. Alright, I launched that at about 70% throttle. I say you need about 75% throttle on launch. But that is really smooth in high rate in 6G mode is what I have it in right now. Low rate is very, very docile, guys. I got full right aileron in it right now in high rate. that is a pretty cool little red tail. Let's make sure we clear the scrub there. Looks like I have a little more. I have more aileron going to the left than I have to the right. Looks to me, yeah, I do. Okay. We got it, should have it in 3D mode now. Yeah, we do. And I'm keeping the throttle up about between 60-70% for cruising. That is the smoothest 3D mode I have seen, guys. That is really smooth. I have to do a little more trim work on it, but look at that. Well, it's cool, man. could do some stuff. Rolls are not a problem. You might want to, give it a little bit of an arc before you start your roll. But that is really a smooth 3D mode, guys. Let's see. I wonder if we can do a split S with it. We know we can do rolls. We know we can do loops. The loops are pretty tight because it doesn't have a lot of power. Oh, yeah, look at that. Split S maneuver is not a problem. I think I forgot to start my timer again. Didn't I? I don't know. Oh man, she's a beauty. Now I have a 500 milliamp hour LiPo in here now. I only received one battery with the plane, and I can tell right now that she's getting a little low on power. It's an older 2S 500 milliamp hour LiPo, and it comes stock with a 6. That's full throttle. Roll it over. Bring it through. What do you guys think of that? Man, that's pretty sweet, isn't it? You make pretty tight turns in 3D mode. Remember to keep your speed up. I'm trying to determine if I need to soften up the elevator anymore. And there's my timer. I did set my timer. What do you know? Okay, so I'm going to put it back into 3D or 6G mode, high rates, and we'll see if we can bring it in and land it again. Going around. I'm going to have to take a little watch out for the scrub. I'm going to have to take a little wider swath at it. Turn off that darn timer. Okay, let's see here. Let's get it over the... Going around. Whoa! I almost got the scrub, and I'm almost out of battery power. I almost slowed up too much with it. Alright, now let's see if we can get it. Oh, crap! I accidentally bumped the throttle. Oh, man.
Well, except for accidentally bumping the throttle forward after I touched down on the second flight and just rammed it hard into the bank off of that dirt road, everything went pretty well. I was able to straighten out my landing gear without snapping it off. I didn't even break a prop, so this plane has definitely passed my durability test. All right, so 6G and low rates is very docile. So if you're a beginner, then I would start off in 6G and low rates. And then when you get comfortable to it, go ahead and bump it up to high rates in 6G mode. And in both modes, except for, it being a little more restrictive in low rates than it was in high rates, I actually liked flying it around in 6G mode in high rates. You could make some pretty tight turns with it with the high rate mode in 6G. But the plane was extremely stable. It was very predictable. And if you guys have ever watched any of my videos before with the XK planes, the 6G 3D stuff, their stabilization has always been good, the stabilization mode. But if you've watched any of my reviews of those planes, I absolutely disliked 3D mode. It felt like every one of those planes that had 3D mode were really, really twitchy. It always felt like the gyro was fighting every movement I made with the plane. I don't know what they changed in 3D mode But whatever they change, they need to keep doing that, because this plane in 3D mode was absolutely fantastic. Now, getting used to the plane was no problem. You know, after the first flight, maybe the second flight, I was very comfortable with the plane. But it has been a very long time since I used one of these stock transmitters. So it took me about 3 flights, you know, to get comfortable with this type of transmitter again. But I'll tell you what, I was able to fly this around nice and smooth with the stock transmitter. And in 3D mode, after the third flight, I had absolutely no problems flying this plane around nice and smooth, doing aerobatics with it. I put 5 flights on it out there. I had 5 battery packs charged up that would work in this plane. I put all 5 of them through it, and I had an absolute blast. I put my stock battery, when I launched it, I had the battery all the way up front, as far as it would go, just to make sure it wasn't tail heavy, and it wasn't. I thought with the stock battery pushed all the way forward, the balance was really, really good. It didn't feel tail heavy. It didn't feel nose heavy. It felt to me like it had a nice neutral balance on the airframe, which is exactly what I like. I had to do just a little bit of trimming on the ailerons, a little bit of down trim on the elevator, and I had it flying nice and sweet. So I will try and publish 1 or 2 more of the flights that I got in on today's flying session. I want to take it out and fly it one more flight session with the stock transmitter, and then I will set it up on the TX16S. But I want to make sure I get it flying really as nice as I can get it flying on the stock TX, and then publish a setup file for that, and then I'll probably publish a setup file for the TX16S for this plane. But I'll tell you what, I published a video not too long ago with 6 factory planes that required no mods. Those are some of my favorite factory planes of all time. This is going to be the 7th one. Now this is being marketed as a beginner Warbird, and as a beginner Warbird, this checks all the boxes, guys. I couldn't believe how much improved their 3D mode was, and I had an absolute blast with it. If I'd had more battery packs through it out there charged up for it, I would have kept putting battery packs through it. But absolutely fantastic. It flies like a bigger plane. It really flies and it handles very much like my 750mm Wingspan P-51D does. And in 3D mode, because it looks to me like it also provides wind mitigation. In 3D mode, it reminds me very much of wind mitigation mode with other gyros. And I love that wind mitigation mode. So this was absolutely fantastic. After 5 flights, I can tell you that I highly recommend this brushless 250 gram micro P-51 Mustang. I wish it had more power, but it's a beginner, and for a beginner brushless sub 250 gram P-51D, this is absolutely fantastic. This is the best XK plane that I have flown so far by far. It's definitely going to be a keeper. Now, I will try and publish some additional flights with the stock TX after the next flight session, and then I will post some videos using the TX16S. Everything I've read, I think someone had posted that it uses the V911S protocol, sub-protocol E119, and multi-protocol. But I'll tell you what, if you do not have a multi-protocol transmitter, you're not going to have a problem flying this plane extremely well with the stock transmitter. That really surprised me, guys. That really surprised me, even in 3D mode. It's got enough power to do some pretty big loops. I'm glad that I softened up the elevator before I took it out there, because if you just pull back gradually on the elevator, keep your speed up until you reach the apex and let it, glide through on the other side. It works absolutely fantastic for some pretty wide loops. The rolls are a bit lethargic. Like I said, I would recommend that you You give it a little bit of an arch, you know, when you're rolling it. I haven't decided yet. I think I'll fly it one more flight session with the way it's set up right now that I got it all trimmed out. And then I think on the flight session after that, I will go ahead and move the linkage on the control horn up one hole for the ailerons. You get a little more movement in the ailerons. I think that will probably get it. I think if I put it in the uppermost hole, it's in the center hole now. I think if I put the linkage in the uppermost hole on the control horns for the ailerons, I think I'll have it right where I want it. And then maybe later on I will set the linkage up for a little bit more rudder movement too. But the stock setup, the linkage and everything to start with is absolutely great. You got no worries. I do recommend that you soften up the elevator the way I did. But other than that, you got no worries whatsoever. And it is so quiet. It's very, very quiet. So, awesome plane. I don't know if I've ever given XK a big thumbs up on a plane, but I'm giving them a big thumbs up on this one. There will be links to the plane in the show notes. There'll be links to the spare prop in the show notes. There'll be links to the stock battery that came with the plane in the show notes. I think there's a couple of other battery packs that I also provide links to, because when I checked at Banggood's site, they only had one of those batteries available right now. And my guess is if I were to check it now, they're probably out of stock. So there were some other batteries that I measured the stock battery. I looked at the batteries online, and I found a 4-pack of 550 milliamp hour, and I think those are 90C LiPos. They're 30 grams, the same weight as the stock battery. They're a little bit longer, and they have an XT30 connector on them. So you're going to need an adapter, or you need to replace the XT30 connectors on them. Now, my little 450s that I flew it with today have XT30 connectors on them, but I just fabricated an adapter to go from an XT30 to a JST connector, and that's what I used in it. And those worked out really, really well. So anyway, stay tuned. I will be taking it back out maybe tomorrow if the forecast holds out, and maybe I'll have some more flights to publish on Friday. So fantastic plane, guys. Absolutely fantastic, and I recommend it. Highly recommend it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.